to The Wise. We are an explicit podcast tackling content with adult themes as well as entering spoiler territory if you aren't caught up with us. We are back on our Red Rising shit. So to finish everything that's out so far, we're talking about Lightbringer specifically. So if you haven't finished Lightbringer, catch the fuck up. I'm PJ.
And we are Words and Whiskey, a podcast for veteran and novice readers alike. We tackle fiction novels and love to talk about what we're drinking. You should think of us as your intoxicating weekly book club.
And today we have a very, very special guest, our very good buddy, Logan Sandoval, a.k.a. Zef Hawaiian, Zef Barbecue. Welcome to the show.
What's up, you guys? How
are you? How are you here if you're always making and posting wonderful, beautiful, delicious-looking barbecue content?
I am not here. I'm a figment of your imagination and crosses as well. I don't exist.
Thought so, actually. Yeah,
I don't
exist. Pretty confident.
I don't believe in time. I am here because I am very tired, and you guys were patient enough to wait for me until fucking almost midnight. But yeah, dude, I'm here to talk about Red Rising. I'm super excited. Lightbringer's been out for 6 months now, 6 months and some change.
Something like that, yeah.
We waited a long time for this bad boy, so I'm excited to be back in the realm of Red Rising. It was too silent for too long.
True.
Also, new dad again.
New dad for 3 for 3. Hat trick. Called the hat trick.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. So now we have our oldest Nalani, who's 7. She'll be 8 in June. Kainoa, he is almost 2. He'll be 2 in April. And then now we have LJ, which is Logan Jr., and he is 6 weeks. Yeah, dude, I fucking threw that one Hail Mary last night. Dude, we had no name for the baby when it came. I was just like, yo. And dude, I fought her tooth and nail for almost 6 months, honestly, but 6 weeks hard. I was like, I couldn't name Kainoa Logan, and this is my only chance to name a baby after myself. And I got it.
Dude, I like LJ too. LJ works really well.
Well, because when we brought him home, I started calling him Logan consistently, and I was like, cut that shit out. We're coming up with something else. So it's like, LJ. She's like,
Logie.
You don't need to be hearing your name anymore than you do. Yeah. Logie Bear. That was always a good one.
Logie Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to pass down all the nicknames, right?
Yeah, dude. And
that's the perk of a junior.
But what's crazy, he's our least Asian baby. He's our whitest so far. I mean, hopefully, because this is the last one, knock on fucking wood. And so, yeah, this is the last one, and he, his hair's almost red. Yeah, it's insane. Those lenient white jeans be hiding back there.
deep recessed in the back of the pool.
No, it's been good, man. It's been tiring. All newborns, they sleep all day and cry all night and just fucking staying alive, man. Trying to keep up on everything.
Surviving. That's how it goes.
Literally.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't say great work on Barbecue Showdown.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you're known for our podcast, but really, your second run at fame was
literally. I'm known for the fandom, the Red Rising fandom. But no, yeah, Barbecue Showdown was insane. And you guys remember, I'd already filmed it. I think we had recorded some episodes.
Yeah, you sent us. You were like, you just gotta.
I was I wasn't allowed to talk about it, but yeah, it is out in the ether. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it on Netflix. Barbecue Showdown season 2. I do very well until I don't. So that's how I kind of take that one.
It was a fun season. I watched the whole thing. I binged the whole thing.
You were a helpful mentor throughout the whole thing too, which was the coolest part. It's you're helping everyone else out and playing, support throughout the entire thing to everyone, which just I think speaks to you as a person and the way that you interact with things and people.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
100%. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say I probably shouldn't have helped T so much, especially rewatching the season. But T's my boy. Yeah. He's dude, we still keep in close contact. I was with him in October for an event in Memphis, and then I'll be with him out in Iowa in May for an event too. So it's just he's still my homie. Did it hurt? Fucking lose. I mean, spoiler podcast across the board. I lose in the finals. I lose at the very, very end by hair. on my whole hog. And so like, yeah, I still cry myself to sleep at night sometimes, but you know, what's $50,000, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, nothing that like starting a restaurant or anything, like not a big deal.
Bro, I'm going through that right now. Like, dude, $50,000 is like you shit in a restaurant.
Right. Yeah, fair. Totally fair. Especially LA.
Oh, fucking kill me.
No
but
joke.
no, overall, everything's going good. You know, thank you for having me back. And like I said, it's been too long. And now the freaking fandom's ramping up again. I'd be on them Reddit boards. I see you all. I see you all out there. You know, I see you in the comments fucking hating. I see you. I see you.
Yeah, I think it's important, you know, like if nothing else, we have like a famous / infamous episode, which is the last time that we had you on, in which I don't think a lot of people know that we've talked about too much outside of like our patrons and whatnot, that we recorded for 5.5 hours and talked for 6.5.
Yeah.
Like we went for it was like 3:30 or 4 a.m. for me the last time.
Well,
we were just having a blast.
Because my wife was out of town or something, and at the time we only had we only had the one kid, and I think she was pregnant. But I was just like, dude, I was out in the living room, I was drinking, I was like hanging out with my bros, you know, like talking about the one thing I can't talk to anyone else about. You know what I mean? Like, of course I'm gonna be freaking, you know, and and you can tell the audience the same thing. I tell you guys, like, feel like I will keep like I love the sound of my own voice. I love it, you know. So I will keep talking. If I start fucking heading off in the wrong direction, you gotta like. I've gotten better at it because I've done a lot more media since, you know, the last couple times, but like I am still a chatterbox as always.
Yeah,
we love it.
As is the nature.
Real.
Yeah. Well, all I was what I was leading into with that too is like we intentionally went down the Lysander path with you as a part of that episode, right? Like that was not. I was like, pitch me an idea. You're like, let's talk like pro Lysander stuff. Not that you believe pro Lysander things.
Let it be known. Yes, let it be known. And things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Things changed before.
Things have changed. I think things changed in that conversation, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, at the very end, you went. By the way, I don't believe any of this, but I don't think some people made it to that point. Even
Dude,
a couple people, because they're just like, oh my god.
Well, that was just like, dude. Now it's just like clickbait too, because like I'd be in the comments just fucking
right. Oh, entirely.
Shit. Do I believe in space racism? Absolutely not. But yo, my boy Lysander got some points though, and the fact that like people have turned into like memes now, you know, and like videos and stuff. Like Sharkbait had a funny one, and just like, you know, like people like, and that's what's great. Like that is the nice thing about social media and you know the world that we live in now, because of the fact that, you know, we can create these communities and we can have this fandom that's so intense and so vibrant and so interconnected that, like, you know, this wouldn't be possible like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you know, with technology and everything else. So. And it's so cool to see the fandom grow and just so many more people than even when you guys started back like 4 years ago, you know. But yeah, go listen to that episode.
Oh yeah.
Understand what's up. You will get where I come from a little bit. I'm not a space racist.
Yeah. So I wanted to lead off with that, you know, just in case people didn't make it to that point in the other episode. So I feel like it's critical that we start on that point. When constructed into this episode, though, which is our third and final wrap up for Lightbringer, I didn't realize that I had chosen predominantly Lysander parts when I went back to look at it.
Well, you didn't do that on purpose?
Incidentally. No, I didn't.
Oh.
And then I texted PJ and I went, oh shit, we haven't really talked about this stuff with anyone else, and we should talk about it.
Bro, when you sent me the chapters and stuff, like when I like asked you to get specific, I was like, oh, I see what he's doing. I see. You had no fucking
I didn't think about it. Which is why like the Athena Darrow stuff is right in the middle, right? Like, because I was like, oh, these are like big things that we've missed. Is like, oh, we haven't talked about Phobos that much. We haven't talked about the Darrow Athena thing that much, and I forget what I pulled at the end.
Phobos be fucking
something along that line.
The book was incredible. As a whole, what did you guys think about the book? Get that out of the way.
Fucking masterpiece, man.
Yeah, dude. It was so good. So good.
I love it.
I've been waiting for someone to be like,
did it a little.
Go ahead.
I was waiting. No.
All right, you go.
We'll clean. We're cleaning that up, so it won't be like awkward or weird or whatever.
I'm the king of awkward.
But we did a unavoidable. Saying we did a tier list of all the books that we've read on the show, and spoiler alert, it's the full hour 40 episode that we did, which we did not intend to be that long, is on our Patreon, and Lightbringer was number one.
Yeah, dude.
Top book that we've read on the show.
Just like, it's just well done. You know, like Pierce is one of those authors that are just like, not to like dick ride or anything, but like, dude, he's just getting better with like the books that come out. Like, I'm so, because remember when we all got up in arms when he was like, I've scrapped like 700 pages. I'm restarting over. We have to wait like another year and a half. And like, we're all fucking, shaking our fists to the skies. And like, dude, like in retrospect, I'm just like obviously there's some stuff in there that kind of like just doesn't make sense at the time. Like this is all spoilers, right? This is like free talk.
Yep.
Okay. So just like with like, Mustang's like inside guy and like all these other things, like, several just like escape the twin or escape the clone, like really like, because the way it ended, it was pretty fucked up, pretty intense, so just like stuff like that I thought was, I could see where he was shifting, probably where those pages disappeared and reappeared. But as a whole, I mean, talk about great writing, great speech. You guys just did one on speeches, right? Or was that Howler Pod?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was just Philip.
Dude, I mean, dude, talk about just like hitting shit on the head, just like, man. And like such a redemption arc coming back from such a shitty, book. Dark Age was not shitty in writing, but just like we were all depressed. I was depressed, and I like Lysander.
Yeah, right. I was depressed, and I like Lysander. Two separate statements.
I was like, yeah. No, someone had to bring it to Darrow eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about
we're not going down that
like
road.
700 pages, like scrapping an entire book worth of content and restarting. I wish that was possible for more forms of media.
Oh yeah.
And, like you see projects get scrapped all the time, but like it's so much more devastating when there's more than just like one person writing the whole thing,
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to do that for a movie or for a video game or for something like that.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of make it work. So the fact that he's comfortable enough doing that, man, it's just going to make a better product in the end.
Yeah.
The briefest of tangents off that point, PJ. A lot of people say like reshoots are a bad thing because something didn't work and that puts like this negative stain. It's exactly what you're saying is typically what reshoots are used for. It's just everyone in their cultural mindset is like, oh God, this movie entered into a reshoot. That's not great. And it's like, no, they're trying to correct something that didn't work in the end. Like that's editing.
Yeah.
That's what this is. It's not a problem. So yeah, I'm totally with you though. I wish more things could do that. But especially with the reshoots,
imagine if instead of reshooting, you just scrap it all and do it all from the start.
Yeah, only if you're Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
right.
But like think about like how much more money that is comparative
exactly.
to
It's just not feasible.
Like let's reshoot like the last quarter of Dune. There goes fucking like $100 million. I don't even know the numbers on that, but I know it's fucking expensive.
Yeah. The Hobbit movies, that's the entire reason is they didn't want to scrap the production. So they just slammed Peter Jackson into the director's chair after Guillermo del Toro left, which is, kind of a bummer that we didn't get to see his vision because like the studio was so forcing him in a direction. And B, at the very least, Peter Jackson finished it because while not nearly as good as the Lord of the Rings movie, maybe the most controversial thing that I've said on this entire podcast ever, I like the Hobbit movies. They're not killer, but they're fun.
They're not, masterpieces. I mean, they're not the Lord of the Rings, obviously.
Right.
And like, how are you going to compete with like your expectation being so high coming out? And like that's nostalgia for us. I remember being in, middle school and like elementary school and like going to see those movies and how big of and you guys remember how big of a deal going to movies was back then. I go and get boba next to the old movie theater here in Simi where I grew up, and it's just like I remember that place just being, packed and midnight showings, and it's just like, dude, like there was a feeling, there was a like it just we could do a whole other podcast just on the nostalgia of movie going, because I went and saw Iron Claw a couple weeks ago, fantastic film if you haven't seen it, and it just doesn't, it should have, but it just doesn't hit like it used to being in the theaters, Anyways,
my first midnight showing was Return of the King. My dad brought me to it.
Yeah,
I still remember that.
Man,
I went opening day. I didn't go midnight, but
and that's a core memory, dog. Like you remember?
My grandma took me.
Yeah,
my grandma Bev. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, man.
And we went to Buffalo Wild Wings afterwards. That's the whole story,
dude. And I remember going and seeing like the Dark Knight on City Walk and just like and like dude, it was an adventure. It was a fucking experience. Like, dude, you and your whole crew like got up and went and fucking like, dude, like. It was wild, man. That was a whole other podcast of nostalgia and media.
Yeah. A buddy and I dressed up in anonymous masks at the time, like full, like, God, what was it? Which is so unfortunate given like the circumstances around the event and sort of the like, obviously Dark Knight and whatnot. But we were not a part of that. We were just like, oh, we'll be like the Joker. Haha, we've got masks on. We had a V for Vendetta costume that Halloween.
My generation calls it a Guy Fawkes mask. All right.
Well, I know, but I'm giving the people of whom don't know,
bro. That we're getting old too, man. I'm about to be 34, and like the shit that like Nalani saw.
I turned 30 in 2 weeks.
Congratulations, welcome to hell.
Yeah.
Nalani saw a CD the other day and asked what it was, and I was just, like a DVD. Like I was just like,
and then you go Blu-ray. It's a Blu-ray,
man. We're so far past Blu-rays too that like,
it's true. It's true.
I don't have like a core amount of Blu-rays. You know, it's not like we watch everything. Like, man, old.
I love that we had this conversation.
And I'm trying to I keep trying to pull it back, and I'm like,
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm also sometimes you fishtail in a direction.
Dude,
it's so hard to pull it back.
If I can make it, dude, if I can make it to HowlerCon,
we're enablers.
Yeah, dude. Because I'll talk to you fucking for like 4 hours about how great it was. Like, you know, like having that feeling and showing up to midnight showing, and like, dude, you would be in your Letterman's jacket, and like you'd be with the fucking crew, and like, dude, it was a fucking whole thing, you know, and like
it was an ordeal. And
now it's like, oh, you know, you stream it. You know, like I was so pissed that they only do like one night of the reissue of Dune 1, because it was like, dude, like that movie needs to be seen in theaters. Like I have not watched it since I saw it the second time in theaters, because I just like, I feel it's going to ruin it for me if I watch it on my little, like my 60-inch TV at home. All right, I'm going to stop.
Have you seen the popcorn bucket yet? Any commentary on that?
Dune
you mean my mistress? Dude, the internet fucking wild for that one, dude. Because I'm a fucked up human being. Like when I looked at it, that was not the first thing I thought of. Maybe it's my old age, maybe it's my kids, but I was like, wow, y'all down bad. You down bad. If you're looking at a fucking popcorn bucket, like back in my day, you used to put your dick in the popcorn bucket from the other side. I mean, you can put that wherever you want. Sorry. Dude, do what you will with that. I can't stop. I fucking put the mouth fucking.
All right. We'll get to the okay. So we said what we thought. We thought it was GOAT status. We believe it's our favorite book in the series. I think actually it's my favorite book. PJ likes Dark Age a little bit more.
It's a very close tight race, but I think I'd put Dark Age ahead of it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I would agree with PJ, and that I would like do by a hair, man, just by like a hair, you know.
Yeah,
because there was things that I was disappointed with in Lightbringer, just like, you know, the clone thing. There was something else. Oh, dude,
it's clearly going to come up.
We'll get into it later on, because I think it's part of the chapters. But no, that's the Phobos thing. But like the Fa thing. Remember when I texted you, I was like, I have opinions.
Oh, I love.
I know.
Fa.
I heard you guys talk.
We'll talk about Fa right now. Let's just go. What was up with Fa?
Well, I mean, dude, because I was a stan for Fa, right? I was like, this dude's a scary, traumatic motherfucker. Like, dude, that was like Pierce Brown's first foray into like horror writing. I like, based off of his Ascomani experience on the Pandora, I would read a Pierce Brown horror novella. If there was like some deep space Ascomani shit, like if there was just a book about the Ascomani, I'd buy it immediately, because the way he wrote that, Fa was just a fucking tank. Like it made Darrow scared, hearing through the grapevine and hearing through, which is so funny because it worked in reverse against Fa when he declared Ash Fa in this book. So it's just like, it like Fa was such a fucking menace. And for him to just like, you know, put on little fucking bunny slippers and a velvet robe and like pop his little voice box out and was just like, oh, my good man. I'm just like, bro, like, dude, this guy was a fucking menace. Like, and I get, you know, he's been undercover and like, I just was like, I was as a Obsidian stan and as like a bad guy, you know, Fa stan, I was like low key disappointed in that. Just a little bit, just a tidge. Because dude, I want him to be that like scary dude. I want him to continue to be that scary dude. You know, I
can understand that.
And maybe
I don't think it lessened his fear, like because he is of two minds, right? He is so willing to be evil, knowing who he is, that he's willing to put on that mask that guise. I don't know. I enjoyed it for the reason that you didn't like it, kind of, not exactly, but like I think that it's a different spin on that character, right? Because otherwise he's almost like the caricature of like an evil terror from the stars. You know what I mean? Like he's pulpy. There's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy a good pulpy villain, but I think that this adds just like a dash of complexity in him.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe it was because like, I read the book first and then I listened to it. I was a bit more disappointed when like I heard it. And like heard him turn into like, and not that he's a pixie, you know, by any means. Like,
I get it, because I didn't listen to it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. I read it first.
Which is still great. I still think like the 3 lives and everything else, but like leaving Dark Age, just the fear I had for Fall was kind of left unanswered. And I know Darrow's a big bad motherfucker, and like this was like, you know, him getting his groove back this book. But like, dude, the fact that he just like made mincemeat out of Fall, I fucking loved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's tasty.
Yeah.
I wonder. I mean, I haven't thought about it enough to really draw a conclusion on it, but I wonder if part of his menace is tied so directly to Atlas.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah,
PJ is becoming one with me.
You guys spend enough
slowly.
time.
My opinions. Yeah,
I don't know, but
I've got a similar thought.
But I feel like that still, those points remain, that it still kind of takes away from the terror of the character. I can see that. Yeah,
but I still get like, you know, like, I mean, who doesn't just want to retire and raise fucking Pegasuses, you know? And like, dude, the guy's tired. He's just like Darrow, man, in that sense. Like, and the guy's been at it way longer than Darrow, you know? Because how old does it say he is? That he's like Ephraim says that he's got to be in his, you know, late 80s or something.
Yeah, given the like time in
frame with like Ragnar and you know, House Grimace and stuff. And it is kind of crazy to think that like he's lived that life and seen the things that he's seen, you know, and has still kept his refinement.
And he's an Obsidian.
Right.
Yeah.
And has still kept his refinement towards, you know, the finer things in life, and the, you know, the bunny slippers, and like, you know, the Pegasi, and didn't he want like a vineyard or something too? Like something very like
highbrow, I think he wanted to retire in a vineyard and get like animals for Volga, right, and like do that whole thing.
I don't think Volga would have ever gone to him after he revealed himself.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Volga was so bought in. I think that Volga was easily swayed, and it took like the moment of having to kill Lyria basically to like wake her up.
Yeah.
In general, I think to like, who am I buying into, and for what reason am I buying into them? So I hope that in the long run, you know,
if she had, if she had found out that Fa was like a highbrow, do you think she would have leaned into it more, or would have leaned to like try to have been like, I don't know about this?
I think she would have felt kind of like she didn't have much of a choice. Like she seems to be one to into her surroundings, and
codependent.
Everyone that she knew before, other than Lyria, is dead or gone. You know?
Yeah.
Like what choice does she have?
Yeah.
What's her options?
Yeah, that is true. Because like, and you know, either stick around or basically like, because Fa would never let her leave, right?
No.
I don't think so. I think he would kill her before, you know, anything.
I think he would imprison to like mind wipe her before he would, you know, even kill her.
Diddle.
But that's him.
Fucking mind diddle, man. Yeah, dude. And that was the other thing about this book too. Like the writing of like the mechanics and the new technologies and like the God Gauntlet and like, dude, these like the
Helios
Gauntlet, the Gauntlet, man. Because I can like picture that thing in my mind. You know, and then like even like the mind wiping. I don't know. We didn't get any of it, right? In this book, Virginia, the psycho
not
chair.
really. She's in the nucleus though, which seems to borrow some of the traits.
Dude, the nucleus
which is a part of Phobos.
So the nucleus was sick. I really enjoyed that. But yeah,
it's a brilliantly written chapter. It's so well paced, and it's like, lost 10,000 men here, 10,000 men there, and it's just like, and it's just a numbers game. It's battle as math,
dude,
you know.
And it's hard, and like, dude, it's like hard like looking at it that way too, because I talked about the same chapters with Howlerpot and like how different.
Oh, did you? Shit, I didn't even mean to overlap.
No.
Did you literally cover the same chapter?
No, but it's good though, because it's like fresh, and like, okay. I've unpacked more of it, and I've listened to more of it, and like they help, but we only did like a small chunk of it. That we didn't do the whole thing.
Okay,
it was more just like about boy Lysander.
I didn't realize
my boy Lysander.
Yeah.
But just like the scale, and I think that's what this book did really well in terms of scale, and then in terms of like bringing it back together though as well. Because even when like, you know, rolling back to Fawn, talking about like the size of these ships, the size of the armada is like, you know how hard it is, unless like, because I started Googling stuff. I was like, how much is a fleet? How big is a Decadon? How big is a, you know, and like, dude, it's millions and massive people. Because like sometimes I feel like we forget the fact that they're like what do they call it? Sphere jumping. They're like sphere jumping. Like these are planets. Like we only have one planet. We can only conceptualize, so much in that scale. So I thought Phobos did a really good job. So I've always had like a hard time gauging some of that, especially with the earlier books. And I think that what Virginia did in the nucleus and making it more human kind of made it easier to digest this time around.
Yeah, that's a great. I like that you said it. It made it more human because of how inhuman she is when she's doing it. Like how robotic she gets through it, but it still like shows the humanity of it somehow.
Yeah, and just like dude, even when God bless, what's his name? What's the narrator's name? Tim Gerard Reynolds. Dude, God bless that dude, because when he's doing that part where like he's like when Reds are going down and talking about moving battalions up and over, and just like you can literally start picturing it in your mind, like the schematics, like if you were to cut like the planet in like half, and see the different levels, and then you have the claw drills hitting. Like I was very impressed and very honestly awestruck, like, and like having to like reread and go back through and read again, because I was just like, there's just so much going on in these, 7-8 chapters,
Yeah, it's a strong set of chapters, and the Battle of Phobos feels great in so many ways. It's a homecoming, of course, from Morningstar, in the way that we're returning to Phobos, so it feels very important as like a beginning and like end and fall and rise of the rising itself. So to like use that as a lamp, as like a marker, is awesome. There's just so much with Phobos that I think is wonderful. It starts with, though, Deanna and that destruction of the gallows, which is, like our foundational beginning of the story, right? And so seeing these different splinters hammer and everyone carries one out. I was curious what you guys thought. PJ, do you still think that Deanna is the villain?
Yeah, absolutely. She's the big
bad. Deep down in your bones? Deep in your bones, Diana's the mastermind.
Like 190 episode joke right there.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think come back to fuck everybody.
I don't think, dude. You never know. She's kind of a bitch sometimes. She's a not nice lady. No, but dude, I think those opening scenes, and picturing them especially, is just like, it's very, once again, it's scale, right? It's very humbling, and like you can like see, and there's so much more. We were talking about earlier about how bigger the fandom's becoming. So the bigger the fandom, the more talented people it encroaches, and the more people put out media and like fan art and fan fiction. There's a couple pages on Instagram there right now that are just absolutely insane. They're just like it, and I'm pretty sure you guys know which ones I'm talking about. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but like the guy that does the AI generated art for each book, and
Red Prince Rising. Yep.
That shout out them because they're fucking excellent. And then there's another one that does like the anime sketches of them, and they're just like fucking like anime is my heart and soul, and it's just like so to picture Victra and Mustang, or even like a Diomedes or like a Darrow is so much easier now, when for so long it was like us kind of just like putting it together in our heads. And my depiction, I always think like the Fear Knight looks like the character from like the Sword in the Stone, the knight with like the black and like the little mustache that sits up the top. For some reason, that's what my mind goes to. When I think of Volga, I think of Bridget from Trolls. These are the things where my mind goes to. Leave me alone.
The world does contain multitudes, folks, in case you didn't know.
You guys don't think of the guy from
That's amazing.
Sword in the Stone?
I had not thought about the character in such a long time, and you said the guy with the mustache that's always poking out, and immediately it summoned it back. I haven't watched that movie in at least a decade.
I haven't, dude. I think
not longer.
I have, but for some reason, when we talk about the Fear Knight and his especially in scarab skin, because I think the armor was kind of like tight to the dude, and like when Lysander describes him in the cave, talks about how he's super lean, but he kind of like still like he looks old, he wears old, not that he has a pot belly, but he's kind of like shrunken in on himself. And so I think of that knight from, I think it was fucking the Sword in the Stone.
It's either, okay, I think it's the Sword in the Stone as well. It's either the Sword in the Stone or Robin Hood. It's one or the other.
Yeah, 100%.
It's one or the other, and there's no other answer. And I do not care if someone fact checks us and tells me otherwise. It's one or the other.
And then I think of I think of Volga, like Bridget from Trolls. I don't know if you guys don't have kids, so I don't know if you.
I've seen Trolls. I've got younger siblings. Yeah,
but yeah. So to wrap it back in, no, but to have this better fan art, it's just like so much cooler now to see what people come up with, and like so much different ideas, because like I think
diversity of ideas.
Yeah, and like all joking aside, I think of those things when I do think about like Fear Knight, or I think about Volga and stuff. It's just like that's what's just stuck in my mind from the jump, So it's nice to see things that open up a little bit more, make it a little bit more serious in my mind's eye, pun intended.
So Just because I know that this exists, and PJ also has this thing. PJ has trouble visualizing things, and this is, a symptom of part of the reason that he didn't read, and perhaps his counter influence, like his reading cycle as it's existed before this. Do you have the same sort of problem visualizing when reading, or like, are you just looking for something analogous? Or I'm just curious.
Well, because my ADHD has been so bad since I was little, and obviously that's not an excuse or anything. Like I've treated it.
No, it's real though.
Yeah, I've medicated for it, but like attaching onto things, and like I've been a huge fiction reader since I was tiny. I mean, then this like goes back further than like the Harry Potter series. Like I was reading,
Magic Tree House, Lemony Snicket.
Well, no, but not only that, I was reading like the Lord of the Rings books in like 4th grade because I just absorbed so much media that way, and I loved reading. I still love reading. That's why I'm on this podcast. And so like, I always had a hard time visualizing things, but I would attach them to like random shit like that. Like I would picture other characters that I've computed in my mind, almost like dreaming. Like I would attach something, especially if I had a hard time coming up with it. Like Darrow's like basically like a samurai in my in my mind's eye, because that's just what my media digestion as a child like adheres to, like anime, Samurai Jack, Power Rangers, those type of things. Like when I think of what is Severo commandeer in the hallway at the beginning of the book?
The like mech.
Yeah, not the Dragon Jaeger. What? Yeah. The Star Shell.
Yeah, Star Shell. It's just Star Shell.
So whenever I think of Star Shell, I always think of like either the machine from Howl's Moving Castle, or I think of I just lost it. This like submarine thing from this like children's fucking thing that's like mechanized.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I just attached myself to that. So having this media, wrapping it back in again, having this media to like kind of like digest more now has helped in that sense. So you can picture not just like, Victra and Virginia standing up there giving the speech and having Diana and having, I can feel that dirge through the book and through like my headphones, because that is such a powerful moment. And we've all been, you guys played sports, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So like, those moments, and like, I mean, obviously none of us ever went like professional or anything, but like you can feel that like, that camaraderie, that fucking like, and this isn't just a sport. This is like going to war. So it's a lot more fluid, and I think it hits harder this way.
Yeah. The closest I have, and I haven't talked about it a whole lot on the show. I feel like we made a big point about it early on that I had done an Iron Man and I wouldn't shut up about it. But the closest that I've felt to that sort of like moment of like emotional, I don't know, whatever the hell, was like the last 10 miles of the Iron Man, because like everyone is also running it and they're just like, get to the fucking finish line.
That's
like,
all
what the fuck
do.
are you doing?
Yeah.
And it was, absolutely. So yeah, I hadn't thought about that until you compared it to sports to some degree. Cause I mean, it is an emotional dirge that pushes you over that line.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Love it. So PJ, you still can't see anything in your mind's eye? I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's not nothing, but it's very rare. Yeah. It's very little.
Do you feel like it's starting to build?
No.
Not at all.
It has not changed.
No.
No change.
What do you think about when you read? Like what's in your brain?
Just the words.
Yeah.
What do you mean just the words?
Do you visualize the words in your brain? Like, do you see the words in your...
Yeah.
I am fucking tripping out right now.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
I mean, I know that everyone is...
Yeah. Everyone's different, Who fucking knows? People probably see numbers and shit, but like I can visually see like shit in my mind, like in my head. I also do a lot of psychedelics, so that probably helps.
I mean, I immediately like it runs into like being a movie, right? Mm-hmm. And so you paint the scene, you paint the end of the sentence, it fills in the scene, you see the frame move forward. Like that's the way my brain works. But
I think my
totally fine that yours doesn't. I was just curious.
Hey, you ever want to? You know where I live. We're going to Disneyland again soon.
Wait, you know where we live.
Yeah, where you guys live, though, it's like a fucking felony. I ain't going back to jail. Where do you guys live?
I live in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh, you live on the fucking opposite side.
I live literally like parallel to you.
Damn. Thank you for staying up late.
Coast.
Yeah, PJ, you're in Arkansas?
Right now I'm in Iowa, but I live in Minnesota.
Minnesota. Damn.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Fucking cold there right now, huh?
He escapes. Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's bouncing right at like freezing level, which sucks because as it melts, my dogs get muddy.
Ew.
So
I'm sweating right now. It's like 75 degrees out.
No,
it's like I think it's like 50 right now at night, but it was 70 today. So
Okay, Phobos, reel me in.
Anyway, oh God, Phobos. No, it's not just you; it's us too. We're so.
Reel me in.
It might be the late night. It could be all these things.
Get me.
Okay, so I do want to return to the battle, of course, and talk about this a little bit more. We talked a little bit about the nucleus. We talked about Deanna.
Mhm.
Let's flip over to the other side a little bit and talk about the beginning of this from Lysander's perspective. The sort of way in which he kind of rallies the troops in a way that is reminiscent of Darrow, but in front of Empire instead, and kind of hoisting those things out. How'd you feel? What were your thoughts about the beginning of the Battle of Phobos from the enemy's point of view?
Yeah, enemy in your mind. No, I'm kidding. No, but talk about a fucking, night and day difference between this and Dark Age. When he was in his Star Shell in Dark Age, scared shitless, had no clue what was going on. Talk about and I know he's a piece of shit. I know we hate him, but talk about a character progression, like an evolution of steps of, because yes, absolutely. Did he fall in the rain on Venus? Absolutely. Did he fucking, break Darrow? And I think, not to backtrack, I think Pierce did a great job of explaining to us how that kind of panned out for him, because when we leave Dark Age, he's the fucking man, right? He can't be touched. He's the dude. Fast forward, 6-8 months, however long it's been, and he's basically just a playboy. He's a mouthpiece for Atlantia at this point, because it's pretty crazy. The first month, and it just happens like everything else in the world. First month, oh dude, the fucking the Reaper killer, the fucking
So
Reaper breaker,
Yeah.
but now you're dude, what else? What else you got, bro? So for him to step in,
it's the meme of poke a stick, and they're poking him. What do you do? What do you do?
Dude. And so and
do something,
especially with his peers, and to get the respect that he has from Dimitri, the Praetorians.
Diomedes?
No, the Praetorians.
Oh, no.
His Praetorians,
Demetrius.
His Praetorians still fucking know about his fucking, nature. Even Ajax does a little bit, just because
Roan.
they were all, they were all on the ground with him. They've seen what he's possible, but just like everything else in the world, it gets muddied down and it gets watered down. So I feel like he sees this as his chance to really yo, dude, let's link up. He gets the packs remade, even though it's a big hunk of shit. Obviously, we'll get more into it as we go into the chapters, but he's a great strategist, with the rail slugs and with, axes and stuff. And just he's such a fantastic planner and manipulator, in the long run. So to see him blossom into the villain that this series really needs is pretty intense. And see how I'm turning all my beliefs into another direction, the fucking on the other side. But yeah, I've done a lot of reflection about Lysander.
Everyone craves, and I totally want to give space to respond to that, but everyone, I think I said this recently in the speeches section or episode that we did, which I'm realizing I said that Philip did that with us. We did it on our own, and I feel bad because Philip was like, Jesus, why didn't you invite me? But because it was last minute.
He was there in spirit.
Love you, Philip. But Lysander, everyone wants the villain origin story. Everyone wants that, right? And they desire that. And we're seeing that in live motion, and people are upset at it. And it's this is what you desire.
Yeah, dude. You want a weak villain? You want you want Wile E. Coyote out there? No, you want fucking,
You wouldn't like Atlas chapters that much. They're kind of bad. They would be pretty mean.
Yeah,
I would love them personally, but the conventional reader that doesn't enjoy Lysander from the perspective of this is a bad guy.
Yeah,
understand it's a bad guy.
Man,
enjoy it,
dude. And was he bad at the end? Dude, it.
Yeah.
Talk about well written and dude, he's coming over to the other side. We'll get into it more, but coming over to the other side and just being that person, and but seeing him struggle, seeing him, not made fun of by his peers, but not really taken seriously, and
demeaned.
Low key deep in his heart of hearts, he's I should be if this is an alternate timeline, I rule all over all of you. Octavia never died. Darrow was put down in the middle ground, and I am, sitting on the, I always want to say iron chair, but the sun chair, right? Morning chair. So it's he has a lot to prove, and he really hasn't. Morning throne, and he hasn't really proven himself until he falls on Phobos. And dude, when he falls on Phobos, yes, he apes Darrow a lot, and not just his speeches, but in his war play. Fucking the claw drills, just literally copying and pasting what Darrow did, but copying and pasting and adding on a little zest to it with the berserkers and the legions, so you want a bad guy to be able to throw those rocks, but he's coming up against the greatest strategist of all time, in Virginia. So it's just such a good, I know we all hate Lysander, and no, we don't want to see Virginia chase through the the Labyrinth, but talk about just good writing and just a good book, like in your fucking heart and souls of souls.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it a little bit, but do you think it's because it's in his perspective that people get so fucked up about it?
Maybe. And like, dude, and like I said, I've done a lot of reflection about Lysander and like a lot of reflection about, and then I'm being serious about it too. Like I've done a lot of reflection about it and like rereading past chapters that I was so into with the light of having this book come out, and being like, wow, he really fucking sucks, But I think it does. And like just the fact that he believes so wholeheartely in it and he's so thrown in behind it and he's a cocky motherfucker, like in right. Dark Age, he was, very humble, he was very to himself, but like, and this is why my boys kind of like floated away from me because of the fact that like, as the chapters go on in Lightbringer, he gives you the ick more and more, he's falling into the role that Pierce always had planned for him. Mm-hmm. Just page by page, like the Lysander at the beginning of the book that like I adore is not the Lysander who's, on Phobos. He's not the Lysander that's sitting with the kin shield, and he's definitely not the Lysander in the fucking hangar.
Right.
So it's just like that progression. He wasn't the Lysander from Dark Age. I like the Lysander from Dark Age and a little bit from Iron Gold, but like, things have definitely changed in the long run.
Totally agree. Again, not trying to make this all completely the whole episode centered around Lysander by any stretch, but we're going to talk about it because we're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Lysander is such an interesting character because you want to believe in the possibility of man,
100%.
Right? You want to believe in the possibility of a human to change and rebel against nature and nurture to do the right thing. And in the reality of everything is that the story is reminding us that people are fucking disappointing. Yeah. And Lysander is nothing if not a disappointment.
Yeah, man. No, and coming from, the guy that was talking all that shit, back in the day, like it is very disappointing for someone that mm-hmm. I don't want to, like, you have an emotional connection and an emotional attachment to these characters. And unfortunately, one of my attachments was to Lysander. And like to see him throw it away just, I think, hurts more because like I always thought like that last chapter, that last sentence, like, dude, that last 1/16 of that book could have gone so much different and it could have been so much better for me, for us, and it wasn't. And that's where Pierce just does that thing, man. And it goes back to like killing Pax out of nowhere. Like it's the hat thing. Like you didn't have to make Lysander evil, but like, dude, it just makes for a good fucking book, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it makes for a worthwhile foil and a worthwhile adversary.
100%.
To overcome, hopefully, at the end. What I appreciate about the way that Lysander is written is that for the most part, throughout the entire story, his logic is consistent. Mm-hmm. He's not just an evil character for the sake of being an evil character. He has reasons for what he believes in. I'll go on record and say I disagree with those reasons, but they're consistent, and he has convictions about them, which makes it very compelling for him to butt up against our guys. Yeah.
But and I think what also makes it compelling too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but because Darrow is so wishy-washy, he is so flim-flam, he is motherfucker all over the place. Like he has set plans, but they never go that way. One more battle, one more fight. Like, dude, like just so much. He's such a fucking hot mess in Dark Age, and to see him pull himself back in Lightbringer is great. But this is what we've been given at the same time. Where like Lysander was very much like, like the Republic's not working. Like Darrow and Virginia are fucking up, man. Like, and that's where I always try to come from. And like, yeah, it's funny to like be like, oh, like Stan Lysander, but like I came from a spot always of like Darrow is our boy, and he's like, the fucking hero of the story. But like, dude, he's fucking up, man. Dude, the camps, like all that shit, dude. Like, it's just like, like you brought these people up out of the earth and then what? Not that they had a great life down there, but life was stable. They were fed, So it's just shit like that. Like it's a give and take, and especially with like, especially now with, the camp still going and like Venus and like, you just see him fuck up so much, but then like now and here, like he's really like pulling it back in. He's like the Darrow from fucking like Morning, or maybe not Morningstar because that motherfucker is scary, but like from Golden Sun, like just pulling that not shiny goody two shoes, but like dude, like clear headed, thoughtful, like focused,
Yeah. Post the bomb, Darrow.
Yes.
I think another thing to point out in those comparisons, Darrow has strictly the military, like he is just the military arm of the Republic. He is, what was the term? Arch Imperator?
Arch Imperator, yeah. Imperata.
So by design, he and Virginia have these split powers.
Yeah.
Whereas Lysander is showing a more centralized authoritarian through, Atalantia as dictator, as centralized power. It's all a single arm acting in unison. So kind of showcasing the changes or the differences in that, where Darrow can't act exactly how he wants to all the time because
unilaterally
he doesn't have all the resources at his disposal.
PJ,
which is why bringing you back to this Battle of Phobos.
Hadn't thought about that.
You just got married
to Phobos. Virginia is now acting as both military and sovereign arm. I missed it. I'm sorry. I saw both of you guys laughing.
You're married now. You know how it is trying to get fucking fight for anything in your house.
Okay. and I tied him down. It was great. I
was like, dude, like you're married now. You get it. Like, so and like I know that obviously I was said as a joke, but like, dude, you know how it is in the household, man. Like, dude, who's doing the fucking dishes? But it's just like, who's moving the fucking legions? It's the same shit, just on a bigger scale, man. And because Virginia is so strong-headed, my wife's strong-headed. I'm sure yours is too, to deal with your dumb ass. No, I'm kidding.
No, for sure, absolutely,
dude. Because like my wife deals with so much of my dumb shit, like, and she just has to watch our 3 kids and me. Like, Virginia is overseeing a planet, a half of a fucking solar system, So like, I get that, and so it's just good to see them kind of come together, but also like. And like PJ, you're married now, and like I know you don't have kids yet, and I don't know if you plan to have kids, but like that whole part where, and we're not gonna go and like cut me off right now, but like we're not gonna go off down a long road, but like when they have that conversation when he's coming back to the planet and he sees the planet, Virginia can see the tight beam and like, dude, it's so close. You're so close. You're so close to being home. Like, dude, this is literally what Darrow's only wanted for the past year and a half, or how much time he's been on the Ladon, and just like this is all he wanted. The last time he left, it was like he had blood on his hands from fucking. Not Ragnar, from the
not Valdir.
What's his name? Just like
it's not Valdir.
Wolfgar.
It's not Valdir. It's Wolfgar. Yep.
Oh, but we'll get to Valdir in the fucking in the
in the
corridors.
We'll talk about him.
It was just one of those things where like as a husband and as a father and like as a other person, like it is tough, and like sometimes you have to make those decisions as an adult and as a parent. It hurts, So I can definitely level with both of them on that aspect. I like your sticker.
Hey, thanks. I wonder where did I get that from? You were one of the first. You were actually, I think, the first person who sent us anything as a part of doing this podcast. So,
hell yeah, dude!
A continual thank you. I have your letter that you wrote.
Hell yeah!
Not framed, but in a nice laminated thing.
Yeah, dude.
Just to preserve it. So, yeah,
dude. Once upon a time, yeah, dude. Like I was talking to fucking. We'll talk about it real quick, but like I was talking to Hallerpod too. Like technically, we've all known each other for like almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
It's very like it's a very like low key friendship, but like we've all been homies for fucking almost half a decade.
Getting back to the Battle of Phobos, there's a lot that happens. Did we have anything else in kind of the front half of like setup, the nucleus, kind of the reaction therein, or do we want to hop into that?
No, let's hop in. I mean, it was crazy to see Ajax kind of fall in line. And their dynamic kind of shifts
in Lysander's,
but also goes to show you that like Ajax is a numbers person. Like, dude, Ajax is like, yo, like, dude, stars rising. Like, I'm a good killer. Like, he needs good killers. Like, and to like, find.
I saw the retweets.
Yeah, and like for them to like have that once again as like a big Lysander fan, it was crazy to have them see them have or read them having that experience of in their their Lysander's given house, and like basically like them kind of like unfortunately like kind of have like kinship over the fact that like they're both kind of like low-key sexually abused by Atlantia. And we all know how bad her, jimmies are. So it's just like, you can only imagine like, what these, like, it's trauma bonding. And that leads over into like why it's just kind of a toxic relationship and why Ajax left him out in the fucking Ladon, because just like, dude, it's a nasty relationship. So to see them sit down and kind of have like a low key, like, yeah, you're pretty fucked up. Yeah, I'm fucked up too. Like, so like fucking pound it out. And like, and then Ajax be like, yo, dude, like fucking, what do you need, man? Like, what I got you, bro. Like, we all need a fucking killer. We all need a hitter,
Yeah. It's so sad that he died so quickly.
That was another.
When he came over to the good side.
And that was like, dude, and that was like a little bit of a gripe I had too, because it was just like, once again, fucking hat pole thing, because like, you're gonna tell me this bad motherfucker, like, dude, this guy that fucking shook armies and like stomped down, dude. I mean, and nothing, I'm all for feminism and like raw power and everything, but like, dude, the fact that he just got his fucking head ripped off by, I mean, Victra is pretty much of a badass, but like,
it's Victra and Thraxa. Like, it's no contest at that point. But like, on top of being in an ambush and on top of like being outsized power. But yeah, I mean, the thing that like hurts the most, which is like both a good thing and a bad thing, is the fact that it is practically off screen.
Yeah.
And then also he is a fucking bad guy. Like, do we really need to like fully honor the bad guy's death?
No, I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm trying over here. All right. I'm trying.
I love that response.
I thought Ajax was a good character. I'm sorry.
I did too. I genuinely, when I was reading through it, I thought that he was going to be longer for the world in the way that it was portraying it. Completely unexpected death. Definitely outside of the big one in this book. It's the character that I wish we had more screen time with.
Yeah. Because he was just starting to unpack. He was just starting to unpack himself a little bit. You had the deep conversations, but Pierce is really good at doing that though. We're like, dude, you get that. And once again, like, would he have come?
It's Tactus all over again.
Yeah, 110%. Like, would he have pulled the Diomedes? Would he eventually have come over the good side? Because like, you can tell in his heart of hearts, he's probably a good dude. He's been fucking fucked up his entire life. Same thing with Tactus. Just like that dude was unfortunately not treated well by anyone in his life. So when it finally came to someone that treated him well, he spit in his face, and we all saw how that fucking turned out. That's another dude. That's another bad guy that just like, fucking breaks my heart getting killed. Cause I was just like, dude, that and Roke. We've talked like that. I like those characters because they're so fucking complex, and they battle with so many demons, and they're not just so squeaky clean. Not that Darrow is or Virginia is, but it's just like, they're very complex characters, and just that like they die in those ways, just like, but also too like, yo, bro, like, yeah, that shit coming. Like, bro, you don't steal Lauren's fucking grandson, bub. Like,
Yeah. We actually talked a little bit about this in the speech episode. What's super interesting is that he literally disowned Lysander in Golden Sun.
Yeah.
Lauren disowned him.
Yeah.
And that was crazy to me to even like reread on page. I was like, whoa. So not only is he not the heir of Arcos, he was never the heir of Arcos.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Anyways.
No, that's, PJ, Ajax? Sad? Bad? Mad?
Right? Yeah, sad that he died when he did and the way that he did from a reading perspective. Like, it would have been cool to either, I don't know, see it firsthand.
Yeah.
Or for it to not have happened here and to get some more time with him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's probably the one person who could have corroborated Lysander's claim that Atalantia killed his parents.
Oh,
just
good point.
Based on his
interactions.
His understanding of how Atalantia responds to accusations and things. Like,
man, Pierce got a lot to do in this fucking last book. He got a lot of shit to fucking wrap it up, bro. Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to pitch out PJ, but like, dude, think about like, there's so much shit that's still like out in the fucking stratosphere.
Yeah, not to speak of the clone in the room, but obviously the clone plays into this part of the chapters, as it cannot be more apparent that not Lysander Mustang's inside person is the Abomination. There's no way that's not where the information is coming from. Any other idea?
No, because I felt real fucking stupid because I asked everybody. I asked Ben, I asked you guys, I asked Janelle over at Hail Reaper. Like, dude,
Hail Reaper, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I fucking messaged so many. I messaged people that here and like see me, just like asking, and like everyone's like, "Oh, dude, it's a clone, duh." And I was like, "What?" Like, I was like so like mind blown. I was just like,
not.
"Yeah, dude, that's fucking crazy." Man, we got a lot to do. Got a lot to do. I'll read a 1500. I'll read a 1500 page book. I don't give a shit. Please make it.
I would have
1500. Yeah, dude. I don't think anyone would bitch about that.
I'd have no qualms. I've been talking so much and gushing so much over the course of the last couple of weeks on the podcast, but I'm reading Sun Eater, and Christopher Rocchio's publisher forced the man to split a planned book that was going to be around 1,000 pages into 2 books
Really?
because of the cost of paper. And then after publishing the 2 books, of which he said there were going to be 2 more to round out the series, went, nah, and dropped them. And now he's blowing up. And
Good for him.
yeah, with the book 6 and everything else, he's doing great.
Damn.
But it's just a crazy thing that, hey, Pierce, do it as 1 book. But give us the 1,500 page book.
Yeah, dude,
I don't need a book 8. I just want one big fucking book.
We're all already here. We're all already here, bro. Like, come on, dude. If Pierce
We're in it.
I'll offset the cost of paper. I'll pay $50 for the
I would pay $100 for that book. I don't give a shit. I'd pay fucking $100 for the fucking audiobook. Like, dude, I'm so invested in this shit now. It's insane. Like, this is a
you have to wrap it up. You have to.
I've known you guys for 4 years now, and I was reading these books fucking 5 years before that. So it's like, dude, I have a tattoo. I am ready. My body is ready for this book.
Committed.
Ajax gets head lopped off, and then we kind of jump in. Like, it kind of just jumps straight into the battle, right? Once again, before we go into these chapters, I just want to say again, fucking scale was just absolutely like insane. And like the way it's perpetuated and like explained is just like, I think if anyone else wrote it, I would have a hard time following it, you know?
Yeah, I definitely get that. I think that, you know, by and large, Pierce cites one of his largest influences over the course of the series is Joe Abercrombie. And in particular, for those of whom have read and whom haven't, the Heroes here is exactly, there's a scene out of the Heroes that feels very similar, and they're very intentionally aimed. And but it's such an impressive feat to pull off, to do something like this, to make a battle scene so clear, and like the Mustangs delving through the depths and like going down into the
once
the
again,
rest of it and trying to escape.
Not as bad as like Askamani stuff, but like also like low key horror writing. Very like, dude, and like we'll get into it, but like once Valdir's like let go and stuff, like very eerie, very catacomby, very The Descent, you know, very very echo of that, which was fucking. And that movie scares the shit out of me. You know, I don't like tight spaces, so like when they're talking about running through panels and up and down elevator shafts and stuff, it made my chest tight. You know,
cramped. The whole thing is cramped
and moist. I feel like it would be moist,
damp.
Damp.
But just like, ugh, God,
like sweaty.
Especially, I mean, she gets stuck in the shit tube, by Valdir at one point. What a moment! I
think I carved that out of my brain, honestly, because dude. Yeah, but once again,
and she's like talking through her plan, and he just goes pop, shuts her down.
Dude, Valdir is a bad motherfucker, man. And dude, I like
about anime. Scary.
I like that we got a little bit more of him, and I feel like we're going to get more of him, because like he was such an interesting character. I feel like he didn't get like the shine that he should have, on purpose though, because he wasn't getting the shine. None of the men were getting the shine, you know. In Dark Age,
that was the whole point.
That was the whole point. Yeah, so it's just like, it's cool to see him like, dude. They're talking about like the throat chanting and the dark and shit, and like, dude, they're just a pile of fucking gold bodies. I'm just like, bro, this is just like. So good, just so fucking good.
If Fa is your obsidian disappointment, Valdir is your victory cry,
dude. Like low key, so was those of you that can't see this, I'm sticking horns out of my head. Was what's his name? Apollonius.
Yeah,
Apollonius. All right. I ran all the way back from the bathroom to try to shout that into the microphone. I was like, I have to pee so bad, but I cannot stop this. Apollonius.
I was doing this. I was Apollonius. No, but I think you know, Apollonius was a terrifying creature. I mean, obviously he's not obsidian, but like, you know, and obviously he's not Fa, but it was very like, it made my chest tight. It made it heavy for me, because it was just like, dude, like he could I felt like he could be around any corner. And then the whole fight scene with the dome and with them like, and like it taking like 7 of them to get after this motherfucker. It just shows that like, dude, that the time spent in Deepgrave was spent obviously very well. And dude, the dude's what Darrow like wants to be, you know, and he's just a fucking menace. I hope he gets a bigger part in a bigger space. I mean, he has already had some pretty big spaces, but I hope he gets a bigger space in the final book, because he's just like, and I know like, you know, the fandom goes crazy for him and everything, but there's a reason why they do. He's like, once again, my love for fucking villains. Like, he's just so fascinating to be the second oldest brother of Valii Wrath, right? Or was he the oldest?
He's the oldest.
He's the oldest, right?
Crossland brought up a really great point that we hadn't thought about. He feels so just cut and pasted Napoleon story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Dude is fucking Napoleon. Is he
no
not?
shit.
Isolated, winning a lot of battles. His
Just
allies and his enemies.
Just reckless in his abandonment. Damn.
Yeah.
Did you see Napoleon?
Apple was Napoleon. I have not yet, actually.
Right.
And I fucking love Ridley Scott. Anyway,
Ridley Scott's the
we
shit.
didn't talk about that, but yeah.
I have a facehugger tattooed in my armpit. I told you that. I told you that before.
God.
Yeah.
No, not
No.
that one. Not that one.
Not directly in my armpit, but like right below. Which side is
It's like
it?
right there.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
I tried
Love
to name my
Love
first.
it.
I tried to name my firstborn Ripley, and my wife said no.
Ripley would be a good one.
Number one movie.
That'd be in the top 5 for me.
Dude, probably top 3 movies for me. That terrified me as a child.
Really?
Once again, okay, so
Really?
I know I'm off on a tangent again, and you guys are doing a bad job of reeling me back in, but this is how I'm going to reel it back in.
We love it.
So, like, you know those tight, cramped spaces in Alien.
Yep.
Everything's wet, everything's damp, everything's musky. You know, even especially in like Aliens, the second one, when they go into the hive and it's all it's warm, boggy. You know, the steam's kind of. That's how I kind of pictured the maze rat race up and down kind of thing, and because like my man, oh hell yeah,
Apple sticker.
fuck yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
it's a little apple. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Anyway,
But like when you were off, I was telling PJ, I was just like, dude, I felt like he was like the boogeyman.
I get here.
Oh, that's right. But like, yeah, I felt like he was like the boogeyman that he could like come at it, and like Pierce just did a really good job. And like reading it reading it scared me. Listening to it terrified me. You know, because it's like he's a fucking menace, man. And it's just like, bro, he's just like, and he's just not like beating the lion guard. He's just like spanking him. He's like making like he's like, bro, like swatting him away. Like get the fuck out. Like, God.
So I have to ask
Nakamura,
for my
who?
own sake, Logan, how do you imagine the sign of the horns of the Minotaur?
Important.
As far like when they do it,
Like, yeah, when they do it.
I've
do
never
you
thought about
imagine
that before. I literally think they do it like the Looney Tunes. I think they fucking like, and like the whole
Okay,
crowd
that's
goes
what I always
crazy.
thought too. I thought it was like two-handed, like index finger on both fingers, but they described it as a single hand, so I think it's like this.
The devil.
I think it's like the devil horns, or
Like
or
Ozzy Osbourne?
maybe like this.
That's a shaka, bro. That's it. Throwing shakas, bro. That's for the island. That's fucking.
Yeah.
Most people in the fandom believe one-handed, right to the forehead, goat style, like old school
Oh, no
rock.
shit.
Which,
Like Julia Bologna
I don't
does it
disagree
when
with.
she's holding the scepter.
yeah,
Oh.
So
one-handed.
I'm pretty sure it's one-handed.
Yeah.
Or like fucking like.
But otherwise, I'm with you. I prefer the two-hand horn.
I do too.
Personally.
I
Like,
think this is
there's
better.
this commitment.
once again,
you know? Like-
talking about childhood like cartoons that I visualize. Like remember when like Daffy Duck would tee off with the fuck,
Oh
or
yeah,
like
totally.
or like
yeah.
you know Bugs Bunny, they would always go like this and they'd fucking so I just picture the whole crowd just fucking like some like gnarly EDM like that
doing
shit
some
that's
full.
yeah like the shit that like several listens to. Like when I picture their fight at the beginning of the book, I picture it like roller dome fucking like
It totally is. That first one, yeah.
dude, just like
Full Mad
there's
Max,
everyone
yeah.
stamping. Yeah, what fucking Mad Max? You fucking hit it on the head. Yeah, just total just like
Thunderdome, dude.
Thunderdome, just fucking like, dude, everyone chanting like, and it's just that much better because they're all chanting for the same person, so the whole place is just going fucking bananas. Anyways,
Yeah.
Phobos.
I remember the line that I was thinking of with Apollonius, and it's when he catches her, right? And he goes, "Found you."
Yeah, dude.
And there's just this like,
just like, and it just like
oh my
itches, it just like
God.
it just like itches up your fucking spine. I'm like,
and then the violence starts, you know,
Dude.
and then it's that moment where he's just like, "Oh, I gotcha."
well, dude, and then and
yeah,
once again, like suspense and like thrillers and just like Pierce Brown's writing just can go like any which way when like they finally get to that elevator shaft and they throw down like I forget if it's like the probe and like they can see all the heat signatures plastered to the wall down the fucking thing, and just like bro, like you're walking into a fucking trap, you know, and then they set the freaking the razor wire and like I was like, bro, that's so like it sounded like a heist movie, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's very Guy Ritchie-esque for a moment. Yeah, yeah.
I love that dude.
It's so good.
As I say,
it's tough not to love that.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about like the defanging to some degree of Fa. I feel like Apollonius is given his due here. Like it does take, like you said, like 9 people to take him down and more, and they don't even really, they just punch through his jaw. But what I appreciated beyond that is when we get into post this near the end of this set of chapters in part 2, he's like still nursing those wounds and holding on to them in a way that like Lysander was holding on to them for glory, but he's like, these are reminders that I fucked up.
Yeah, and he's almost like,
know?
and he's almost like, ooh, ow, like he's like, oh, my nails, you know, like his pride's been broken. But like on our end, we're like, it's like the reverse of like the lightly brushed away resistance. It's like, bro, like Apple, you were fucking mobbing on these people, and he's almost like, I'm like a pixie bitch because like I didn't get this one. Like it should have been so easy for me. No, it should have been just there, you know. And I feel like talking about like 100%. And I think talking about finally him getting his due diligence is like, you know, like, and I feel like subconsciously we have heard about Apple from a very, very, very early time point back in like the earlier books, you know, that this guy was just like, and we only heard about him in like Pearl clubs and like these parties and stuff, and how his appetites were massive. And so like, and it builds up, and then we finally get to meet this motherfucker, you know, in Iron Gold, you know, and like, you get a little bit of the rub, you get a little bit of like, you know, obviously he leads this fucking like, and I don't think the impact was as big then as looking back on it now is like how he fought off, you know, legions on top of the Ash Lord's, you know, fortress, you know, and like the fact Darrow and Several came back and like, holy shit, like you were able to do that with, you know, 100 men, you know, and so like just leading up to it. And then even in the fight with Darrow in the beginning, like he's just like bitch slapping Darrow around. So like here to see him in his atmosphere and see him in his own world, it's all, you know, these books and all this like time that we've just been hearing about once again, like the boogeyman. And now the boogeyman is literally like in our fucking closet saying like, found you. So it's just like, it's made its full fucking circle. God. So like such a
hot. Yeah.
Once again, fucking, I'm a sucker for fucking villains, man. And just like, he's just well written and he sounds gorgeous. Like I can appreciate a good looking man.
TGR.
Like, Apollonius. Anyways. Go daydream for a little bit about Apollonius. Nah, man. And dude, just like, 100%, but it goes to show you like he really did that work in fucking Deep Grave. You know, and I always found that fascinating. Just like, you know, instead of pissing off and like doing dumb shit and like banging pinks and stuff, he really focused to the point where like Darrow is now, you know, carbon copying, aping his process.
While you were fucking around, I learned the sword.
Dude, that's the meme. That's a meme in a book. You know, like really, like,
it's
dude,
literally Apple.
Like and he made a good point too. Like, dude, like Darrow really hasn't been challenged in combat in a very long time. He just stomped on all these like low level, low house golds, and he's like, bro, like bring that ass up, like fucking bring it to me, you know. And the fact that like, and like I love the fact that how it talks about Darrow's jealous of it too, like having his legions and like these dudes, because like Darrow gets off on that shit. Darrow loves fucking that shit. You know, he doesn't want to admit it, you know, but like, dude, when he's in his best, when he's in his prime is when he's on the battlefield and dude, people chanting this motherfucker's name. And they're not chanting Darrow, they're chanting fucking Reaper.
True.
Boom.
Boom.
Think about the fucking headspace you have to be in to like do anything productive on a giant mechanical crab at the bottom of the ocean forever.
Well, and just like, and like not knowing, like not, that's actually a really good point too. Cause like not knowing you're going to be rescued. Like, dude, you just fucking like, dude, I'd be just drinking beer and fucking hanging with the dog. You know?
Exactly. But instead he's naked practicing violin. Bro. You know?
Dude, and like one day
bribe the warden to
I mean, one day when we do get a visual representation of this world and this realm, that scene's gonna be fucking hilariously unreal. Because I could
Apollonius needs to be portrayed by someone that is ripped like Brad Pitt in Fight Club.
No, like, bigger.
But bigger. I'm adding. I'm thinking like.
Bro, did you see Iron Claw?
I have not, but I've seen the photo. So actually, you're not wrong. I do like that Efron.
Bro, dude, if he had like another, I mean, Zac Efron's short as fuck, but like if he had like another foot and a half on him, and I'm sure they can do it, you know, visually, but dude, his build, and like someone from a wrestling background and someone that used to cut weight, and like I was in bodybuilding for a long time, dude, the dryness and just like his build, obviously he had a cycle. There's no other way you can get a physique like that, but like, dude, the discipline that goes into your regimen and your diet and your carb loading, off carb loading, your fucking water retention, like, dude, there were some scenes where I was just like enamored by fucking like Zac Efron, but like I can see that like we're past the worlds of like the Mark Wahlbergs and like,
Wahlbergs.
like the Rock. The Rock was just always big because he was just a big motherfucker. Like Zac Efron looks like Apollonius walking out of the fucking crap in my mind.
You're right.
There's a visual for you, PJ. He was also in his underwear half the movie. He was also in his underwear half the movie, so it's a better visual. Just picture him with long hair. I did
say Fight Club. Maybe I'm thinking Troy, but even then, he needs a little bit more on top of Troy.
Yeah. So, dude, he was pretty yoked in Troy, though.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that's going to happen, like, I feel like we've talked about this before, but it's going to have to be like a classically trained dancer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who's also like a really good actor, like Shakespearean actor.
Yeah. Like Broadway or something. Yeah.
He's got to move.
Yeah. And
PJ's out here dropping hard facts. And like,
am I wrong in remembering that he is a very dark-skinned black man?
Yes. No.
Well, he's I think Auburn. He's closer to Arab. Yeah. He's closer to like Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like not
somewhere between. Not.
I mean, excuse my PC right now, but not African American, but like almost like mixed, like light skinned. That's what I always got from Tactus, that he was like mixed, or at least that complexion of mixed.
Yeah. I guess I always thought, I in my head leaned a little bit more Middle Eastern. That's entirely correct, because they do say specifically that like Tactus is dark skinned, but not nearly as dark skinned as like Ajay is.
Just
Ajay is fully,
just like the Telemanises are all like me, like all Polynesian.
Yeah,
because they're all not all Maori and all Auckland and
they're like Polynesian Irish randomly because of the hair, right? Yeah.
Crazy. Wild. Yeah, PJ's over here like making like the real like connection. Like, I'm like,
no. You're totally correct. I'm thinking musculature,
and I'm over here. I'm over here thinking about the fucking Sword in the Stone and fucking trolls. See, PJ, you are a visual guy. I'm over here thinking about Disney movies.
Different visual.
We need a classically trained, like wide receiver. Like NFL wide receiver is also a classically trained actor.
You know a guy?
I've just recently gotten into football because my boy, my son, my firstborn son, Kainoa, he's not 2 yet and he's already 40 pounds. And his hands are just fucking massive. And he's in all like, he's a year and a half. He's all in like 3-year-old, 4-year-old stuff right now. He's just a big kid. He just got the Hawaiian bones.
Yeah.
And so we're really debating because he's only going to be 2, but he'll be 4 before we know it. And like, are we going to put him into football? Or are we going to put him into wrestling? And I'm like, football pays a lot more than fucking wrestling, man. And so like,
soccer.
He's too big. It's stupid to play soccer. Yeah. That rugby too, like fucking. But so like, getting away from like the fighting world, like I've now paid a lot more attention to football, and those guys are fucking like, being a wrestler growing up, I was like, oh, football's stupid, like. Those motherfuckers are athletes. Like, to play at that level and at that age, I'm 34 and I hurt just getting up. Like, when I stand up right now after this, like, my knees are going to crack and snap. Dude, I was watching that game yesterday between...
My ankle just snapped.
Oh, my God. I was watching the playoffs yesterday and it was insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Totally. As a dude from a family of wrestlers, I totally get it. And, like, the wear and tear on that is fascinating. I'd sooner put a kid through... Knowing all that I know, I would sooner put a kid through football than I would wrestling.
Yeah, but also football make that money, dog. Even if we're on the fucking
I know. I'm agreeing. It's not just also. It's like that's a factor, right? Like, go out for that. Mm-hmm. You throw in our little bit of soccer skills inside of the family with kicking, and we got a legion of kickers. So
yeah, right now my fan casting outside of like the Sword in the Stone and Trolls is Zac Efron for...
We can just delay, and wait until your kid grows up.
Yeah. So he's just going to be packed. So he'd be fucking, he'd be fucking diabetes or something.
He'd fit right in with the... No. We'll give him Daxo, Yeah. We'll give him time.
Man, Daxo was a great character too.
Yeah, give him more than one book worth.
Rip.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Brutal.
R.I.P.
He did get a moment in Morningstar, I think, if I remember correctly, in the chamber. But that's it.
Yeah. Fucking bummer.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Big bummer.
Yeah, I think Phobos is a set of great chapters. Like, the scale is obviously, once again, I'll talk about like just the main focal point of it. And like, you really get to see these intimate moments with, just like what Darrow has with his legions and his people, and like what Lysander has with his. You can also see where Virginia's coming from. The fact that she has to be so numerical about her decisions, it definitely gives you a glimpse into a mind that's usually so logical, being so human and compassionate. Because she really does feel these losses in her soul, but she has to do them because you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I still always think about the term spending when it's talking about the numbers.
Because I've never been. I mean, I've been in a situation where I've had to cut people's hours, or I've had to cut people's working time, and people always get emotional about that. I can't even imagine trying to lead, and especially like when you're that in dire straits, like you're literally leading your underlings into the chainsaw when you're getting your golds out because they're worth more. Like you're really putting a numerical value on these groups' lives, and it's unfortunate, but it's also necessary.
Yeah. And she struggles with it too. I mean, I think that like in particular, Holiday is a good example of that, where it's like she is constantly like, no, you cannot die. She's like, I'm just another gray lady, and it's like, no, you're my fucking gray. You're my family's gray. Fuck you. Like there's a good amount of that throughout this section.
I mean, even beyond that, she's giving up herself more and more and more in that she's constantly putting more of her Lion's Guard into the fray. Right. Like True. She puts like almost 90% of her personal guard.
Yeah. Well, at that point too, you kind of have to. You got fucking Apple on your ass.
You have to. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you have to. But like, she doesn't second guess it at all. Like she just considers it part of the numbers of what she's dealing with.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. Hey there, folks. This is Cross here, popping in just to give you a quick explainer of what's going on for the rest of this. So first off, we split this episode in half. You're getting one half this week and one half next week, and there's a reason for that. The reason being, well, we haven't recorded it yet. We're actually going to record it this weekend. We had to break it up because of scheduling. New child, as mentioned previously inside of the episode. So, we're totally trying to be accommodating for that to get through all of the stuff we want to talk with Zef about, which predominantly revolves around Athena and a little bit of the very end of the story, talking through the chunk with Lysander, of course, and where the story is going to go next in the final installment. With that, next week, you're also going to be getting, in addition to part 2 of this episode, The Blade itself, episode 0. Now, what is our episode 0? Well, if you haven't listened to one before, it's basically explaining the idea of our podcast. If you're listening to this, you're familiar, as well as the idea of that series and what draws us to it. So it's kind of a concept episode. If you haven't listened to in episode 0 before, or if you haven't read The Blade itself, it's kind of a pitch for following along with us. So give it a listen. It'll be accompanying this one. I think it's about 30 minutes long. So you'll get both a part 2 and an episode 0 next week. Very exciting stuff. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you then.